Okay, welcome back. Now we've just learned how we can blend two materials together by using material functions. We've created this MSMG mat, and in this material we use a blend material attributes to blend between two material functions using an alpha. Now we'd like to drive this alpha with code logic, and if we want to use code to change a material's property, we need to take that property and turn it into a parameter. And doing so is as simple as right-clicking and clicking on Convert to Parameter. Now we need to give this a parameter name. So we can call this parameter Glow Blend Alpha. Now this is going to be an alpha to blend between the regular F Bellica guns material function and the glow material that we're going to create. So what exactly is our glow material going to look like? Well, let's go ahead and start working on it. So in our fGlow material function, let's go in there. We can go ahead and delete these nodes. We were just adding some things to show that we could create a material in here. Now, what I'd like to create is something called a Fresnel node. Now, if I right-click and type in Fresnel, then we get Fresnel. The S is silent. So Fresnel is a very special type of node, and before I tell you what it does, I'm just going to show you. Go ahead and hook this up to emissive color and click apply. Now you'll see in the mini viewport here on the preview sphere that the sphere is darker in the middle and brighter around the edges. This is what the Fresnel node does. The Fresnel node returns a 0 for pixels on the surface where the face of the surface is facing towards the camera. And as the angle on the surface gets farther and farther away from the direction to the camera, then we get higher values. And so the effect is the same as a sort of glowing around the edges. Now we can see what this looks like on our gun. Let's go to MSMG Mat, and for the Glow Blend Alpha, we can set this so that it's only using the glow material. For that, we'd have to set Glow Blend Alpha to 0. So here in the Details panel for default value, we can change this from 0.5 to 0. Go ahead and click Apply. And now in the default map, we can take a look at our weapon, and here we see the effect on our material. Now, since we set the alpha to 0, then we don't get any of the Bellica guns material. All we see is purely the fGlow material function. And the edges of the gun are brighter. You can really see the effect if you look at the gun almost straight on, because as the angle changes, so does the glow effect. Okay, so back in our fGlow material function, you'll see that the Fresnel node has some inputs. The exponent in input adjusts the Fresnel effect. Let's create a scalar constant value and plug it in, and right-click and convert this to a parameter. Call this Fresnel exponent. And we can adjust this value to see the effect. With a value of 0, the entire surface glows. Now, as we raise this value, say to 0.5, then you'll see now there's a little bit of a dark spot in the middle. Raise this up to something like 10, and now the edges are barely glowing at all. So I'm going to set this to a value of about 2.78, and I encourage you to play with values to see exactly how this parameter affects the Fresnel node. So this is what 2.78 looks like. Now the base reflect fraction in is another input that affects the Fresnel node. Let's create another constant and plug it in, and here's what it looks like with a value of 0. Now we can adjust this with tiny increments and see an effect. Here's a value of 1, it's completely white. Here's a value of 0.1. You can see that it has a slight fade to it. Here's a value of 0.01. Now there's a more defined fade. And here's 0.001. I'm going to give it a value of 0.005. I kind of like how that looks. Now I'm going to convert this to a parameter and call it Fresnel reflect fraction. Let's go ahead and apply this. And on MSMG matte, I'm going to set glow blend alpha back to 0.5. Now we see the material for the gun as well as the Fresnel effect. Go ahead and apply this, and then we can take a look at how it looks on the gun. So here we can see the effect on the gun. And of course we can look at it head on and see the effect more clearly. Now we can also multiply this Fresnel by a color. Let's go back to F glow material, and let's go ahead and multiply this. Hold M and left click to get a multiply node. I'm going to plug Fresnel into the B and the result into emissive color, and I'll hold down 3 and click and get a nice red color. Reddish orange is fine. And I'm going to plug that in and go ahead and hit apply. And now you'll see that we have a color applied to the Fresnel effect. Let's look at our gun in the world. Now we can see a little bit of a subtle orange effect on our material. Now keep in mind, we're also using the post-process material to tint this object with a bit of a gray color. So these are all combining together. Now we can make a parameter for this color by right-clicking and converting this to a parameter. Let's call this parameter Fresnel color. And now this color itself can be driven by data. Now we can also adjust the overall effect of this entire Fresnel system with a multiply node. So let's create another multiply and hook that up, and we'll create a scalar constant value, and I'm going to right click, convert this to a parameter, and call this glow amount. And multiplying this by a particular value will increase the Fresnel effect. I'm going to give it a value of 1. Now we saw in MSMG matte that we have this glow blend alpha. And when this was at a value of 0, then we have 100% glow material. Now, whenever we have 100% glow material, we can't see the actual material for the guns. I'm going to apply this and show you just what I mean. Now, this is what it looks like. We can't really see all the little parts on the gun that exist on the material for the gun. But thanks to material functions, we can add some of those attributes to our glow material. Let's take our F Bellica Guns material function, drag up to our F glow material, and bring it in here. Now let's drag it up here so we have room. And I'm going to drag off of the result and type break material attributes and select that. And now we have all those material attributes. I'm going to go ahead and take the base color and plug it in to the base color for our make material attributes. That's going to give us the base color information. I'm also going to use the normal from the Bellica Guns and plug that into the normal for our make material attributes. Now let's apply this and see what this looks like. Once it's compiled, you'll see that we get in the viewport the base color and the normals for Bellica Guns, and the normals give us the impression that there's all these ridges and grooves. Let's go to the default map and take a look. Now we can see that we have the actual gun material plus the Fresnel effect on top of that. So this will conclude this video. In this video, we learned about the Fresnel node and how different inputs for the Fresnel can affect the Fresnel effect. And we also used our Bellica Guns material function to get certain components of the material attributes and use that in our glow material. We'll continue this in the next video by creating a material instance and assigning it to our gun in the world. Stay tuned.